Jake stumbles upon a hidden wine glass in his garage, lipstick stained with his wife Mia's signature shade. A stranger's jacket and an expensive wine bottle spark suspicion. When he uncovers deleted security footage, Jake's world unravels. Determined to expose the truth, he sets a trap to reveal Mia's affair at a neighborhood party. Will his plan bring justice or destroy everything? Jake Thompson's Saturday mornings in Austin, Texas, were sacred. At 38, the software engineer spent most of his weekends in his garage, a sanctuary where he built custom furniture, tables, bookshelves, even a rocking chair for his wife, Mia, a 36-year-old high school English teacher. Their 5-year marriage felt solid, built on late-night talks and shared dreams of a future in their cozy suburban home. But on this particular March morning, that foundation cracked. It started with spring cleaning. Mia had been nagging Jake to tackle the garage's clutter for weeks, and he'd finally relented. As he sorted through boxes of holiday decorations, his hand brushed against something cold and delicate behind a stack labeled patio lights. He pulled out a wine glass, its rim smudged with Mia's signature plum-colored lipstick. Jake froze. They kept their special crystal gifts from their wedding in the kitchen cabinet, not hidden in the garage. His pulse quickened as he reached deeper, finding a second glass and a men's jacket, size large, tucked behind the boxes. Jake, at 6 feet 2 inches with broad shoulders from years of woodworking, wore extra large. This wasn't his. He turned the jacket over, noting its high-end brand, the kind sold at REI for a small fortune. A faint whiff of cologne, sharp, expensive, not the drugstore scent Jake used, clung to the fabric. His stomach churned. Mia's voice cut through the haze, calling from the kitchen over the strum of her favorite acoustic playlist. "Jake, you good in there? Coffee's ready." "Yeah, just sorting," he called back, his voice steady despite the storm brewing inside. He slipped the jacket's inner pocket open, revealing a crumpled receipt. REI Austin, January 12th, $275, paid in cash. 2 months ago. Jake's mind raced. Cash meant no paper trail. Why hide a jacket? Why here, in his garage, where he spent countless hours crafting pieces for their home? He photographed the glasses, the jacket, and the receipt with his phone, then tucked the glasses into a Ziploc bag, hiding them behind his toolbox. The jacket he hung on a hook near his workbench, as if it belonged. Evidence preserved, he carried a box of old Halloween decor into the house as cover. Mia stood at the counter, scrolling through her laptop, grading essays. She slid a mug of coffee his way, black, 2 sugars, exactly how he liked it. "Find anything good out there?" she asked, not looking up. "Just junk we should donate," Jake said, wrapping his hand around the mug, grounding himself. "Hey, you seen those wedding crystal glasses lately? Thought we kept them in the cabinet." Her fingers paused on the keyboard just for a second. "Oh, probably in the dishwasher. I'll check later." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Jake nodded, sipping his coffee, tasting nothing. The glasses were not in the dishwasher. He'd checked last night. That afternoon, while Mia graded papers, Jake retreated to his home office, claiming he needed to debug code. Instead, he opened the app for their Nest security system, installed after a string of neighborhood break-ins. For cameras covered the house, front door, back door, driveway, and garage. He scrolled through the garage footage, expecting routine clips of himself hauling tools or Mia grabbing gardening supplies. Instead, he found gaps. Every Tuesday afternoon for the past 3 months, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., the garage and back door cameras went offline. The front door and driveway feeds ran uninterrupted, capturing every passing jogger and delivery truck. Jake's years at a tech firm, troubleshooting systems for $300,000 a year, kicked in. He accessed their router logs. The cameras hadn't failed. They'd been manually disconnected from the Wi-Fi at 12:58 p.m. and reconnected at 4:02 p.m., like clockwork. Someone knew his schedule. Tuesdays were his marathon coding sessions at the office, non-negotiable. Mia knew this, had teased him about it. "Why do they always book your big meetings when I want my husband for lunch?" she'd say, laughing. Now, that laugh felt like a lie. He cross-checked their wine collection next, a hobby Mia had picked up 2 years ago. In their basement storage, Jake counted the bottles. They'd splurged on 6 premium Cabernets last Christmas, $80 each, meant for special occasions. They'd open one for New Year's. 5 should remain. Only 3 stood in the rack. 2 bottles, $160 gone. Mia had mentioned taking one to her book club last month, claiming her friend Lisa loved it. But Jake knew Lisa, a recovering alcoholic, hadn't touched wine in years. The lie stung, sharp and deliberate. Mia's voice broke his thoughts. "Dinner's ready," she called from the kitchen. Jake closed his laptop, heart pounding but face calm. He couldn't confront her yet, not without proof. Over tacos, Mia chatted about her students' latest essays, oblivious to Jake's silence. "You okay?" she asked, tilting her head. "Work stress. Just a tricky bug in the code," he lied, matching her ease. "Might need to pull some late nights." "Poor thing," she said, squeezing his hand. Her wedding ring glinted, a reminder of vows that now felt fragile. Jake forced a smile, but his mind was already planning. He needed more than suspicions. He needed evidence. The next morning, while Mia slept in, Jake slipped into the garage. He installed a small, motion-activated camera behind a stack of paint cans, angled to capture the entrance and workbench. It ran on a separate network, unlinked from their Nest system, streaming to a secure cloud account. If Mia was hiding something, or someone, in his garage, he'd know. By Monday, Jake's routine held steady, coffee, commute code. But at lunch, he drove to the REI where the jacket was purchased. The security office was tucked behind the camping gear. "Hey," he told the guard, a wiry guy named Dan, "my wife's car got dinged in your lot back on January 12th. Insurance needs footage." Red Toyota Camry, early afternoon. Dan nodded, pulling up the system. "January 12th? You're in luck. Footage deletes after 90 days, but we've still got it." He scrolled through grainy video, stopping on Mia's Camry, pulling into the lot at 1:15 p.m. Jake's breath caught as Mia stepped out, followed by a tall man from the passenger seat. Dark hair, athletic build, moving with easy confidence. They walked toward the store, not touching, but their proximity screamed familiarity. Jake recognized him instantly. Ethan Carter, the divorced orthopedic surgeon who lived 2 houses down. The guy who borrowed Jake's tools, who always seemed too friendly at block parties. "That her?" Dan asked. "Yeah," Jake said, snapping a photo of the screen. "Can I get a copy for the insurance?" "Fill out a form, and I'll burn it to a USB, Dan said. 20 minutes later, Jake sat in his car, the USB drive heavy in his pocket. He replayed the footage on his phone, watching Mia's unguarded smile, the kind she used to give him. The timestamp burned into his mind. Tuesday, 1:15 p.m., when she should have been grading papers. The pieces were falling into place, and Jake's sanctuary, his garage, his marriage, was starting to feel like a crime scene. Jake Thompson's world tilted further off its axis as he clutched the USB drive from REI. The footage of Mia and Ethan burned into his mind. Back in his Austin office, the hum of servers and chatter of colleagues faded as he replayed the video on his laptop. Mia's smile, unguarded and intimate, wasn't for him. It was for Ethan Carter, the neighbor who'd borrowed Jake's drill just last week with a grin and a thanks. Jake's gut twisted, but his engineer's brain took over, methodical and relentless. He needed more proof, a plan, a way to expose the truth without losing everything. Monday evening, Jake returned home, the USB drive hidden in his laptop bag. Mia was in the kitchen, chopping vegetables for dinner, her usual routine. "Long day?" she asked, glancing up with a smile that now felt like a mask. "Same old," Jake said, forcing normalcy. "Bug in the system's driving me nuts." He leaned against the counter, watching her dice carrots with precision. "You do anything fun today?" "Just grading," she said, not missing a beat. "Kids think Romeo and Juliet is a TikTok trend." She laughed, but Jake caught the flicker of her eyes, checking his reaction. He nodded, playing along, while his mind cataloged her lies. Grading didn't involve Tuesday afternoon disappearances or missing wine bottles. That night, while Mia slept, Jake checked the hidden camera feed from the garage. Nothing yet. The motion sensor hadn't triggered, but the gaps in their Nest system persisted. Every Tuesday and Thursday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., like a schedule carved in stone. He cross-referenced his calendar. Those were his longest days at the office, coding sessions and architecture reviews that kept him away until 6 p.m. Mia knew this. She'd planned around it. Tuesday morning, Jake kissed Mia goodbye, her lips tasting of coffee and routine. "Big meeting today?" she asked, adjusting her bag for school. "Until late," he confirmed, watching her closely. "You grading again?" Might hit the gym after, she said casual. New spin class at the rec center. Another lie. Jake had checked the rec center schedule online. No spin classes on Tuesdays. He smiled, said, have fun, and drove off but not to work. Instead, he parked at a coffee shop 2 miles away, opened his laptop, and waited for the garage camera to activate. At 12:58 p.m., the Nest cameras for the garage and back door went offline. At 1:12 p.m., the hidden camera pinged. Jake's screen lit up with a live feed. Mia's Toyota pulled into the garage, followed by Ethan's sleek BMW. Mia stepped out, moving with purpose, closing the garage door behind them. Ethan emerged, tall and confident, carrying a bottle of wine, another of Jake's missing Cabernets. They didn't waste time. Mia retrieved 2 crystal glasses from behind Jake's toolbox, the same ones he'd found, and poured the wine. To us, Ethan said, raising his glass. Mia echoed him, their clink echoing in Jake's ears like a gunshot. Jake's hands shook as he recorded the feed. They sat on his workbench, talking softly, laughing, their ease a knife in his chest. Ethan's hand rested on Mia's knee, proprietary, familiar. When do we tell him? Ethan asked, voice low. After my settlement's done, Mia replied. No need to complicate things now. Jake's breath caught. They were planning a future, one where he was an obstacle to remove. He closed the laptop, unable to watch more, the footage saved to his cloud. Wednesday brought a new test. Jake jogged through their neighborhood, claiming he was training for a 5K. Really, he was watching, mapping routines. At 7 a.m., Ethan ran past, his stride effortless, a surgeon's precision in every step. Jake, didn't know you ran. Ethan called, slowing to jog in place. New hobby. Jake panted, playing the part. You're out here every day, huh? Clears the head, Ethan said, flashing a smile that Jake now saw as smug. Hey, mind if I borrow your jigsaw this weekend? Got a shelving project. Sure, Jake said, forcing a grin. Swing by any time. Ethan jogged off, oblivious to Jake's burning stare. Back home, Jake checked the wine collection again. Another bottle gone. Only 2 left now. Mia's personal bank account, accessed through their shared app, showed cash withdrawals every Monday. $100 here, $50 there. Cash for wine. Cash for secrets. Thursday, Jake set his trap. Over dinner, he casually mentioned a work conference in Dallas next week, Tuesday through Thursday. Big presentation for the Peterson project, he said, showing Mia a fake email he'd crafted using browser tools. Whole team's going. That's sudden, Mia said, twirling spaghetti. Her eyes flicked to her phone. A quick glance Jake didn't miss. You'll be back for the weekend, though? Should be, Jake said. Maybe we could do something fun. Barbecue, invite the neighbors? Her smile tightened, but she nodded. Sounds great. Friday, Jake visited an electronics store, buying a second hidden camera with cash. He installed it in the garage that night while Mia was at a supposed book club. This one angled toward the back door, covering the blind spot of the first. The app synced both feeds to his phone, ready for Tuesday. He also moved $10,000 from their joint savings to a personal account, citing work expenses when Mia asked. She didn't push, but her questions felt sharper, probing. Saturday, Mia left for a yoga class. Real this time, confirmed by the studio's online schedule. Jake used the hour to dig deeper. He found Ethan's LinkedIn. Recently divorced, orthopedic surgeon, moved to their streets 6 months ago. The timeline matched the camera gaps. Jake also checked Mia's phone while it charged, her passcode unchanged since they met. Her texts with Lisa were vague, coded. Can't wait for Tuesday and bring the good stuff. No mention of book club, just plans for their next rendezvous. By Sunday, Jake's plans solidified. He'd fake the Dallas trip, check into a local hotel, and monitor the cameras. The barbecue would be his stage, the neighborhood his audience. He'd expose Mia and Ethan, not out of spite, but for truth. His garage, where he'd built their life, deserved that. Mia deserved consequences. And Jake deserved to reclaim his trust, even if it meant tearing everything apart. Jake Thompson's plan was set, a carefully coded sequence ready to execute. By Monday, he'd perfected the lie about his Dallas conference, showing Mia a forged itinerary on his laptop. She nodded, her attention half on her phone, texting someone she claimed was a colleague. Jake's hidden cameras in the garage were live, their feeds streaming to a secure cloud he'd set up at work. His heart pounded, but years of debugging complex systems at his Austin tech firm kept his hand steady. He was ready to expose Mia's affair with Ethan Carter, their neighbor, at the neighborhood barbecue he'd proposed for Saturday. The truth would come out, not in private confrontation, but in front of witnesses who'd see Mia and Ethan for what they were. Tuesday morning, Jake packed a suitcase, playing the part of a dutiful husband heading to the airport. "Text me when you land," Mia said, handing him a travel mug of coffee. Her kiss lingered, a performance Jake now saw through. "Love you," she added, her voice soft but hollow. "Love you too," he replied, the words heavy. He drove to a Marriott in downtown Austin, checked in with his corporate card, and set up his laptop in the sterile hotel room. The garage camera feeds loaded instantly. At 12:58 p.m., the Nest Systems garage and backdoor cameras went offline, right on schedule. At 1:10 p.m., the hidden cameras pinged. Mia's Toyota rolled into the garage, followed by Ethan's BMW. Jake's jaw tightened as they stepped out, moving with the ease of a routine. Mia retrieved the crystal wine glasses from behind his toolbox, pouring from another of his missing cabinets. Ethan raised his glass. "To our future," he said, his voice clear through the camera's mic. Mia clinked her glass against his. "To no more hiding." They kissed, urgent and unapologetic, on Jake's workbench. He recorded every second, the footage stacking up like evidence in a trial. "When's he back?" Ethan asked, pulling back. "Thursday night," Mia said. "We'll have the whole week to plan." Jake's stomach churned. Plan what? Leaving him? Splitting their assets? He forced himself to watch as they laughed, sipped wine, and discussed Ethan's divorce settlement. "Once it's final, we're free," Mia said, her voice bright with possibility. Jake snapped the laptop shut, his breath ragged. The betrayal wasn't just physical. It was a calculated dismantling of their 5-year marriage. He spent the afternoon preparing. He emailed his lawyer, Sarah Brennan, a no-nonsense divorce attorney he'd researched. She confirmed that Texas's community property laws meant timing was critical. Jake's $400,000 in stock options, vesting next month, could be protected if he filed before they became marital assets. He forwarded her the REI footage and the garage recordings, building his case. Sarah advised discretion. "Keep playing the husband until you're ready to serve papers. Don't tip her off." Wednesday, Jake stayed at the hotel, claiming a delayed flight to Mia via text. "Stuck in Dallas. Meetings running long," he wrote. She responded with a heart emoji and "miss you." The lie stung, but Jake focused on logistics. He rented a projector for the barbecue, ensuring the garage footage would play clearly on their backyard screen, typically used for movie nights. He also moved more savings to his personal account, citing conference expenses. Mia didn't question it, too busy with her own secrets. Thursday morning, Jake drove home, staging a weary return. Flight was a nightmare, he groaned, dropping his suitcase. Mia fussed over him, bringing water and asking about Dallas. Her concern felt rehearsed, her phone buzzing with texts she ignored. Jake noticed Ethan's jacket still on the garage hook, untouched since he'd hung it there. "Found this in the garage," he said casually, pointing to it. "Yours?" Mia's eyes flicked to it, then away. "Probably from the block party last month. I'll ask around." She moved it to the coat closet, her movements quick, practiced. Jake let it go, but the lie added fuel to his resolve. Friday, Jake finalized party plans. He invited 20 neighbors, including Ethan, via a group chat, keeping his tone light. "Ribs, beer, good vibes, see you Saturday." Mia threw herself into prep, buying supplies and cleaning the garage with unusual care, rearranging the corner where she'd hidden the wine glasses. Jake watched, pretending to help, noting how she avoided the toolbox. "Gonna be a great party," she said, smiling. "We haven't done this in ages. Gotta make it memorable." Jake agreed, his voice neutral. He tested the projector, ensuring the footage would display in crisp HD. At night, while Mia slept, he reviewed the guest list, picturing their reactions. The Johnsons, who'd known them since they moved in. The Patels, always hosting potlucks. Ethan, who'd walk in unaware his secret was about to be broadcast. Saturday dawned bright. Austin's spring sun perfect for a barbecue. Jake started the smoker at 6 a.m., the scent of hickory filling the air. Mia bustled around, setting up tables and arranging snacks, oblivious to the trap closing around her. By noon, Jake confirmed the projector was ready, hidden under a tarp until the moment came. He texted Sarah, who had a process server on standby. "Papers ready?" he asked. "Ready to serve at 6 p.m." She replied. "Just say the word." Jake's plan was simple. Play the footage, serve the papers, let the truth do the rest. He wasn't after revenge for its own sake. He wanted accountability, for Mia to face the consequences of turning his garage, his sanctuary, into her hideout. As guests arrived, Jake played host, grilling ribs and handing out beers. Ethan showed up at 4:30 p.m., bottle of Cabernet in hand. Another of Jake's, no doubt. "Thanks for the invite," Ethan said, clapping Jake's shoulder. "Mia's been raving about this all week." "She's excited," Jake said, his smile tight. He watched Ethan gravitate toward Mia, their glances subtle but charged. The crowd grew, neighbors laughing, kids running, music playing. Jake's pulse raced as 6 p.m. approached. He excused himself, claiming a quick errand, and signaled the process server waiting nearby. The stage was set, the footage cued, and the truth about to break wide open. The Austin sun hung low, casting long shadows across Jake Thompson's backyard as the barbecue hit its peak. Neighbors laughed, kids chased each other, and the smoker's hickory scent mingled with the buzz of conversation. Jake, 38 and methodical, moved through the crowd, handing out beers and checking ribs, his calm exterior masking the storm inside. Mia, his wife of 5 years, played the perfect hostess, offering snacks and chatting with the Patels about their new deck. Ethan Carter, the neighbor and orthopedic surgeon, lingered by the beer cooler, his eyes tracking Mia with a familiarity that made Jake's skin crawl. At 6 p.m., the trap was ready to spring. Jake excused himself, claiming he needed to grab more ice. He slipped into the house, connected his laptop to the backyard projector, and cued the garage footage. The process server, a lanky man in a cheap suit, waited at the front door as planned. Jake had paid extra for precise timing. Mia Thompson, the server confirmed quietly. "She's out back," Jake said, leading him through the house. His heart pounded, but years of debugging high-stakes code at his tech firm kept his hands steady. He signaled the server to wait near the patio, then stepped outside and clapped his hands. "Everyone, quick announcement." The crowd turned, smiles expectant. Mia looked up, curious, as Ethan sipped his beer, oblivious. "Found some interesting footage on our garage camera," Jake said, voice carrying over the music. "Thought you'd all enjoy a peek." He hit play, and the 50-inch backyard screen lit up with crystal-clear HD. Mia and Ethan appeared, embracing in Jake's garage, the timestamp reading Tuesday, 1:15 p.m. "God, I missed you," Ethan's voice boomed through the speakers. Tuesday felt like forever. Mia's response echoed, "I hate when we can't meet." The crowd froze, beers halfway to mouths, as the footage showed them toasting with Jake's crystal glasses, sipping his stolen Cabernet. Mia's face drained of color. Ethan choked on his beer, setting it down hard. The video rolled on, capturing their talk of leaving Jake after Ethan's divorce settlement. "When do we tell him?" Ethan asked on screen. "After your settlement finalizes," Mia replied. "We're worth it." The words hit like shrapnel, silencing the yard. Jake watched Mia's eyes dart to Ethan, then to him, horror dawning. The process server stepped forward. "Mia Thompson," he said, handing her an envelope. "You've been served." She took it, hands trembling, as neighbors stared. The divorce papers listed Ethan as the correspondent, detailing the affair with timestamps from the footage. Jake paused the video, the frozen image of Mia and Ethan mid-toast burning into the silence. "Jake, please," Mia whispered, her voice breaking. "Not like this." "You chose my garage," Jake said, calm but firm. "My space where I built our life. You made it your hideout. Everyone deserves to know." He turned to the crowd. "Ribs are ready. Help yourselves." No one moved. Ethan bolted for the side gate, nearly tripping, his bottle of wine left behind. "Ethan, wait," Mia called, starting after him, but Jake's voice stopped her. "You should go too," he said steady. "Both of you." The footage looped silently, their betrayal on display. Neighbors began to disperse, murmuring excuses. The Johnsons grabbed their kids, whispering about the scandal. The Patels slipped out, avoiding eye contact. Within 15 minutes, the backyard was empty except for Jake, Mia, and the wreckage of their marriage. "How could you?" Mia sank into a patio chair, clutching the divorce papers. In front of everyone, "You humiliated me first," Jake said, unplugging the projector. "In my garage, with my wine, planning your future while I was at work. I just made it public." His voice stayed even, but the hurt was raw. "You lied about book club, about Lisa, about everything. What was it, Mia? Was I not enough?" "It wasn't like that," she said, eyes wet. "I didn't mean to hurt you." "Then what was it?" Jake pressed. "Explain the wine, the cameras, the Tuesdays. Explain why you used my sanctuary to betray me." She had no answer, just tears. Jake walked inside, leaving her with the papers. He texted his lawyer, Sarah Brennan. Served. Footage played. "It's done." Her reply was instant. "Good. File Monday to protect the stock options. Stay calm." That night, Mia moved to the guest room, her footsteps heavy on the stairs. Jake lay awake, replaying the barbecue, the shock on neighbors' faces, Ethan's cowardly exit. He felt no triumph, only a hollow clarity. The garage, where he'd crafted furniture for their home, was tainted, but he'd reclaimed his truth. He checked the hidden camera feed. Nothing new, just the silent workbench where Mia and Ethan had toasted their lies. Sunday, Jake met Sarah at her office. She reviewed the footage and papers, nodding approvingly. "Texas is community property, but the infidelity in your evidence tilt things in your favor. The stock options vest in 2 weeks, $400,000. File after, and they're yours. The house might go to her, but with the mortgage, she'll struggle." Jake nodded, calculating. He'd move his tools and personal items out gradually, avoiding suspicion. Back home, Mia avoided him, grading papers in silence. Her phone stayed face down, no more buzzing texts. Jake cooked dinner alone, the act mechanical. "Barbecue was a hit," he said, testing her. She flinched but said nothing, her silence louder than any argument. Ethan's jacket hung in the closet, untouched, a ghost of the affair. Monday, Jake went to work, his routine shield. Colleagues noticed his quiet focus, but he waved off questions. At lunch, he checked the neighborhood group chat. Whispers about the barbecue were already spreading. "Poor Jake," one neighbor wrote. "Didn't see that coming." He closed the app, focusing on the next steps: protect his assets, file for divorce, and rebuild. The barbecue had exposed the truth, but the fallout was just beginning. Jake Thompson stood in the aftermath of the barbecue. The truth of Mia's affair with Ethan Carter laid bare on a 50-inch screen for their Austin neighbors to see. The divorce papers, served in front of 20 stunned guests, marked the end of their 5-year marriage. Jake's garage, once his sanctuary for building furniture, had become a stage for betrayal, but his calculated reveal ensured Mia and Ethan faced the consequences. Now, with his $400,000 stock options vesting in 2 weeks, Jake focused on protecting his future while navigating the fallout. The days after the barbecue were a tense stalemate. Mia stayed in the guest room, her presence in the house a ghost of their former life. She left for school early, returned late, and avoided Jake's gaze. He kept up his routine: work, gym, coding, while quietly moving personal items to a storage unit. His tools, his laptop, even the hidden cameras from the garage were packed away, each trip a step toward freedom. He didn't confront Mia again. The footage and divorce papers had said enough. At night, he checked the neighborhood group chat, where whispers of Mia's affair and poor Jake spread like wildfire. The social fallout was swift, and Mia's silence confirmed she felt it. Jake met with his lawyer, Sarah Brennan, on Monday. She laid out the strategy: file for divorce the day after his stock options vested to keep them out of community property. "The footage is gold," Sarah said, reviewing the garage recordings. "Infidelity won't change Texas law, but it sways judges on asset splits. The house will likely go to Mia, but the mortgage will stretch her teacher's salary thin." Jake nodded, signing paperwork to initiate the process. He also transferred the last of his savings to a personal account, citing relocation costs. Mia didn't question it, too buried in her own unraveling. By Wednesday, Jake noticed Ethan's BMW was gone from the neighborhood. A quick check of Ethan's LinkedIn showed he'd taken a job at a Dallas hospital, a quiet exit from a scandal. Jake's neighbor, Mrs. Patel, mentioned Ethan's ex-wife had heard about the affair through the grapevine and was pushing for higher alimony, citing his moral failings. Jake felt no pity. Ethan had borrowed his tools, drunk his wine, and planned a future with his wife in his garage. He deserved the consequences. Mia tried to talk on Thursday, cornering Jake in the kitchen. "Can we at least discuss this?" she asked, holding the divorce papers. Her voice was raw, but Jake saw no remorse, only damage control. "You discussed our marriage with Ethan," Jake said, pouring coffee. "You plan to leave me while drinking my wine in my garage. What's left to say?" Mia opened her mouth, then closed it, retreating to the guest room. Jake's resolve hardened. He wasn't cruel, but he wouldn't soften either. She'd chosen this. The stock options vested on schedule, $400,000 secured in Jake's name. He filed for divorce the next day, Sarah's team serving updated papers to Mia at school to avoid another scene. The filing detailed the affair, backed by timestamps, footage, and bank records of Mia's cash withdrawals for wine. Jake moved into a temporary apartment in downtown Austin, leaving the house to Mia. The mortgage, Sarah predicted, would force her to sell within a year. 6 months later, the divorce was final. Mia kept the house, but struggled with payments. Her teaching salary no match for the $3,000 monthly mortgage. The neighborhood's judgment lingered. Invitations to potlucks and book clubs dried up. Mia sold the house at a loss, moving to a smaller condo across town. Ethan, now in Dallas, faded from her life, their affair crumbling under the weight of public exposure. Jake heard through the grapevine that Mia was dating again, but the stigma of the barbecue followed her, a cautionary tale, in suburban Austin. Jake took a promotion to Denver, a $450,000 role at his tech firm's new office. The Colorado air felt cleaner, untainted by memories of Mia's lies. He started dating Laura, a program manager from his team, whose blunt honesty was a stark contrast to Mia's deceit. Over dinner one night, Laura scrolled through Instagram and paused on a post from Jake's old neighborhood. The new owners, a young couple, had turned the garage into an art studio, their paintings vibrant under bright lights. "Is it your old place?" Laura asked. "Yeah," Jake said, glancing at the photo. "Looks better now." The garage, once a hideout for Mia and Ethan's toasts, was reclaimed for creation, not deception. He kept the crystal wine glasses in a box labeled evidence, not as a trophy, but as a reminder. Trust is earned, and truth matters. A year later, Jake returned to Austin for a conference. Driving past his old street, he saw the house repainted, the art studio thriving. The Starbucks where he'd watched the REI footage was still there. Now, just a place for coffee, not heartbreak. His phone buzzed, Laura checking on his flight. "Home tonight?" she asked. "Boarding soon," he replied. "Making your favorite steak." Her voice was warm, unguarded, real. "Love you." "Love you too," Jake said, meaning it. This love felt different, deliberate, built on transparency, not assumptions. Mia's betrayal had taught him to notice the small things: a hidden glass, a missing bottle, a gap in footage. Those details had unraveled his marriage, but also freed him. The barbecue hadn't been cruel, Jake decided. It was justice, a public accounting for private lies. Mia and Ethan had turned his garage into their stage. Jake had simply given them an audience. The neighbors, the ribs, the 50-inch screen, they were witnesses to a truth that deserved light. Jake flew back to Denver, to Laura, to a life where trust wasn't a gamble. The wine glasses stayed in their box, proof that even the smallest secrets, when hidden in a man's sanctuary, could reveal the biggest truths.